Gentlemen, start your engine!
How about Shannon? No, they're clear. Or you sound good. Try and close the whole thing off.
Alrighty, we're off and racing here at Watkins Glen, and as you saw in the front row, it is the same two guys that finished 1-2 in our last race, and there's been a little bit of commotion in the pit area this week heading into Watkins Glen. It was very well known that BMW got some help, got some funding to help boost their research and development on their cars going forward to try and compete against Jaguar here in 2024. Jaguar has been highly the most dominant of the manufacturers out there with only a two-car team, and you can see how that's still very relevant as Jaguar leads the way right now. But we can do a quick check at the back, towards the back, see where BMW's running here today. There's the first BMW as you've got Justin Day 2 running 35th here. It might not be an overnight change of pace, but you might see gradual performance increases from that BMW camp. So I wouldn't consider it, it's not going to be immediate, but in all honesty, road courses are hard enough as it is too, so. Team owner, though, if you look through the field, getting closer to the front, the 13 of Aunt Me Person's actually beating a couple Mercedes, beating a lot of high name. Still having a hard time seeing where the 13 is. Right there in the new T-Mobile paint scheme. Had gotten some help funding from German company Deutsche Telekom, or in other words known as T-Mobile here in America. Currently in the top 10, right behind Mercedes of Tristan Reams there. So noticeably different there for the 13 is he's up in the top 10 here early in this one. Impressive run from Lynn Farrell, up starting in the top 5 here. He has struggled to put together consecutive good races here in the Sylvania Cup. So perhaps maybe Lynn Farrell's got something figured out there. Nate Newman has been looking lights out for the field. He is a rookie, but does not look anything like a rookie. He's even competing against the likes of Chaz Chadwick and Kellen Relic here, holding on to third right now. But by golly, it's Al Bunch just cruising at the front, starting to grow that lead slightly lap by lap here. Yeah, it's kind of interesting as we've got the lineup here in the race that this is kind of where our established top five, well, apart from the odd one there, the 63, you got What Army behind that though. Kind of been the same five guys we've seen run up front all season so far. I mean, Al Bunch, Chaz Chadwick, Nate Newman. Newman's been a huge surprise. There's a reason why he's up in the top five in points. Kellen Relic with 2 wins to his name on the season. Definitely KG veteran looking to put his name in the hat for a championship. And then, yeah, even you and What Army there. Hey, we're starting to see the return of road course king Tristan Reams here. Guy that got about 6 road course wins last year. Had thought that the move to Mercedes was going to be the key to get more wins at road courses here in 2024. Starting to show his prowess as he's just kind of hanging in the back there, but he could pick off a couple more spots and be in contention for the win here today. And don't count out the likes of Brian DeBlanc, Atlee Weiss, all in the top 10 here. A strong top 10 as we have them running right now. Guido Piano, a very promising road course ringer. We got Jacob Shangle, Trevor Walker, Tyler Aspinall, and Andre Stefan. Tyler Landa there has not had a bad race yet this season. Kind of continues to just be a silent assassin at the back of the field. Jack Ross in the Hooters car. Chris Harvey running mid-pack right there in 19th. Saw his best career finish in a top 10 scenario last race at Atlanta. Did we have a mechanical? Oh, that's a bummer. Justin Day 2 with a camshaft failure. Drops out early in this one. So, camshaft failure and that 31 team still not going to get it. They're not going to catch a break here today at Watkins Glen. Al Bunch with the fastest lap in the race so far. Second fastest, though, is Nate Newman. So Newman could be the next contender in line for this fight for the win. Well, here comes Kellen on the inside of Nate Newman. He's going to have an advantage going into the turn there. But Nate Newman is going to make the momentum count and drive back around him. Man, it's impressive that Al Bunch has harnessed his inner Sylvania Busch Light strength here today in the last couple weeks. He is on a tear like none other. We've only seen it happen in Cup Series once, where a driver goes back to back to back like he did in the Busch Light Series. Another car on pit road. It looks like maybe the 77 of Tyler Shangle. Yep, there's a 77 FedEx car. Engine was for the 31, so I don't know what happened to the 77 there. Ooh. I'm wondering if this has anything to do with the 77 car. That's some pretty significant damage to the 5 of Jordan Walker. I'm going to fast forward and try to find the moment in time where he loses it. Oh, yep, with the 77 of Tyler Shangle right there in front of him. This is panning out as exactly I thought it might. So the 77 of Tyler Shangle running in front of Jordan Walker here. And Jay doesn't seem to make contact until later here in the lap. Must be going into this last segment of turns. Oh, that is unfortunate for the two of them. It's impressive that that didn't bring us out a caution at all. Getting stuck there in the kitty litter is never a fun thing. And of course, NR2003 with its odd physics to make them spin like a pirouette to get out of situations like that is always different. But we stay green. Nate Newman's still trying to fight for second here. I think Nate Newman's got a faster car than Chadwick does. So Chadwick's just trying to hold on right now to outlast that 20. And I think that lead for Al Bunch just continues to grow and grow and grow. Not much has changed in the running order here. Top 12 still the same as they've been this whole segment of the race here. Trevor Walker in 13th, Tyler Aspinall in 14th, and Andre Stefan running 15th. Oh, Tyler Shangle rejoins the track a couple laps down though. Right in between those two. Dalton Scott, Lewis Trost, Chris Hergeson, John Brinker, Bella Fawn, Gavin Gray, Tayden Berggren, Bob Leader. Well, that's a rough one for Monty. He sits 36 on track right now, and he's up in the top 10 in points, so this is going to be a hard hit in the points for him. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. One. He's a 5.5 second lead already and still growing. Howdy, Trevor. I'm going to be at Supercross this weekend, so that's why the Cup race is on Monday for this week. I'm going to try to keep the trucks on Tuesday, Bridge to Cup on Thursday, but I'll be leaving town on Friday, so the Cup race was rescheduled to today. Man, I'm at a loss here as to why Al Bunch is just going on such a tear here. It's crazy. I do like that we've seen some new names at the front of the field this season so far. Nate Newman really establishing himself. Goes to show where Atlee Weiss was thinking when he signed a complete rookie. Hadn't even gone through the steps of the ladder to get here to Cup. Nate Newman had not seen much success in the Truck Series where he started. And Bridge to Cup obviously never happened for him as he got an instant ticket here to race for TRD Motorsports. And I guess we'll see how it pans out, but Atlee so far looking like a manager of the year for picking talent that no one else could have saw coming. Yeah, no, definitely. He's just grown that by another half-second lead over the rest of the field. We know he's capable of it. Man, I didn't realize he could figure out these Cup cars that quickly. Al Bunch is, last year looked rough in the Cup Series, and I think just a quick learn. He took a whole season to learn the ropes, figure out what to do and what not to do in these cars, and now it's looking like his Busch Light Series days when he was out there. I mean, obviously he's gonna have some bad races here and there, but right now on a tear like no other. There's always that hidden element of failures out there, mechanical failures, wrecks that you can't get, you can't get out of the way for. And those are still bound to happen, even if you're leading the race like this. You never know. There has been scuttlebutt that there were teams trying to get a petition signed to investigate Jaguar. But even Sigma officials had mentioned that there is no foul play, aboard. At least from the inspections every week, pre-race, post-race, nothing out of line there. That doesn't mean there could still be, ways that they could hide enhancements to those cars that don't get caught during inspection, but obviously that petition never went through, and it's been highly publicized that everyone else just kind of needs to try and catch up and get on the same level as Jaguar. I mean, it is only a 2-car team, so it's not like it's a 10-car brigade that holds down the whole field. It just goes to show you that, the growth, the expansion of manufacturers here has allowed for some interesting storylines to unfold. And Jaguar, I think, honestly, it's taken them this many years to get to where they're at now, having joined the series back in 2020, I want to say. And their first few years from 2020 through 23 was rough. I mean, they could barely muster top 5s, top 10s. It really didn't come along until midway through 2023 that you started to see that the Jaguar was truly a strong contender. And the rest is history as 2024's rolled out, and Al Bunch today even kept his streak alive of front row starts. In 6 races, he has not started any worse than second. So if we look at our qualifying, start on the pole again. So pole position, he's gotten his 4th pole in 6 races. And currently leading with the fastest lap as we have 39 laps to go. Not quite to halfway yet, but this race, it's going to be over pretty quickly. It's going to be at an hour-and-a-half length race here today in the Cup Series. You'll get to see a little bit of pit strategy play out. And really, that's going to be the huge factor in this one is pit strategy, because I don't see a lot of passing going on. We did have one accident in the race so far that involved the 5 connecting with the 77 of Tyler Shangle. The 2 of them slid through the kitty litter and sustained minor damage. Well, minor to mid significant damage, as you can see. They're still running, although laps down the both of them. Mechanical failure for Justin day 2, unfortunately. BMW still working on improving their performance here in the Sylvania Cup Series. So like I said, it's going to be a gradual, slow growth for them. They got T-Mobile, or in other words, Deutsche Telekom, behind them to help grow the German brand, the German name with BMW. And it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. Yeah, still same people running in the same spots through the field here. Top 15 have remained unchanged as you still have Andre Stefan, Tyler Aspinall, Trevor Walker in 13th, Jacob Shangle in 12th, Guido Piano in 11th, Atlee Weiss in 10th. 9th place belonging to Brian DeBlanc, Ant Me Person, Tristan Reams, Ewan What Army. Ewan What Army sits, 5th, and Lynn Farrell in 4th. That's a little different because I think it was Kellen Relic running 4th at one point. But Nate Newman in 3rd, still very impressive run for that number 20. Ewan What Army going to get a spot here, it looks like, going down the long straight here at Watkins Glen. So realistically, the battle turns into 2nd, as very little of these guys have anything for Al Bunch at the moment. It's going to be who's going to finish 2nd here amongst this battle. Chadwick looking pretty solid, keeping a lot of strong contenders behind him. Yeah, no cautions so far in the race, so everything's been pretty civilized. Last road course out at Brands Hatch, we saw Kellen Relic get the job done. And he's still within position to get possibly up to 2nd here. And last time we were there at Brands Hatch, it was a 1-2 finish for Jaguar. So Jaguar might be able to pull off another 1-2 where yeah, it's just crazy, man. Tristan Reams was our road course ringer last year, and already into the 2nd road course for this season. It might be a Jaguar duo as the road course ringers. Been thinking about trying to figure out different tracks for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not opposed to some of the ideas that were thrown out there. But another fun idea that I just came up with would be to have a race in Australia, maybe at Surfers Paradise, so that we could have a home race for Nate Newman there. I know it doesn't really have anything to do with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it would be kind of neat to have special paint schemes roaring around it in the land down under. Thunder in the land down under. Of course, the only thing I keep saying I want to change it, but I need to do testing to figure out which tracks are going to be excitement for racing action. So far, I give this Watkins Glen about a 7 out of 10. It's got decent lines. There's a couple opportunities for drivers to pass here, although it's been follow the leader since the flag dropped. They look competitive and they look like they're willing to make a move. It's just, it's hard to make passes on these road courses. Yeah, this is probably the first time I've ever actually experimented outside of my standard tracks that I always run. I had gotten to the point where I had found kind of the happy spot with which tracks run well. And I think y'all saw that last week with Atlanta as to why I keep using that Atlanta track. It provided great racing action for trucks, Bridge to Cup, and Cup for every race we ran last week. So this, I mean, just getting out of the comfort zone, experimenting a little is. I found a new California track I didn't know would race better than the one I had before. This is the first time I've ran a race on this Watkins Glen. I think it's circa 2018. And so far, there hasn't been a whole lot of carnage or craziness. It's just good racing, clean racing. And to be expected on some road courses where you might just have someone that's on a tear that day. So our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame race last year we did in Cleveland at the airport, made famous by IndyCar days that they ran there at the Cleveland airport. And so it was a decent race. We got to see some different strategies play out, and all in all, kind of a surprise winner pull it off. And that's kind of what I want that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame race to be, is not just another ho-hum follow the leader race like this looks like it might pan out to be today, but a track that the drivers actually need to learn on the fly how to adjust their car to get that victory for the day. Now, the one track I don't have any inkling of anticipation to exercise would be like Rainbow Road, although I'm sure it would provide for some interesting racing, but yeah, it's not really in it's more of a fantasy track than it is racing for this series. So 70% damage to the engine for Taden Bergeron is gonna call it the end of the day for him. So another mechanical failure on another car out there today. And that was a piston failure for the 43 of Bergeron. We're just about a lap shy of halfway here today. Every lap has been led by Al Bunch, but that means pit stops are going to be coming here soon. They'll be able to make it here today on just one pit stop at Watkins Glen. He's catching up to lap traffic of Gavin Legend, so Al Bunch on one hell of a tear here. It's crazy. Every time that Al Bunch is out front dominating, he doesn't seem to be available for watching the broadcast. And yet again, it seems to be the case here today, is he's just on a tear. He must be away from any computers. He's going to have a pleasant surprise. Okay, first round of pit stops coming here. Nate Newman stays out. Lynn Farrell, Ewan Wood Army, Brian DeBlanc, Atlee Weiss, Jacob Shangle, Tyler Aspinall, Andre Stefan. All of them stayed out here. This is kind of the undercut that Al Bunch is pitting early, right at the halfway point. So 29 laps to go as he hit lap 30. So he's obviously very clear on making it to the end here. But the surprise shocker will be who gets any advantage from the undercut or anything on the overcut. And one thing none of these guys want to see is a caution. As they exit pit road, there's always that hazard of someone making contact. There we go. Oh, wow, What Army staying out another lap here. There's going to be a lead lap for the one of What Army, perhaps. There you go. What Army leads a lap. And this is where you're putting yourself kind of in the danger zone of losing track position. As staying out this late, if there were a caution to fall, you would be running out of fumes on the pace lap outside. I mean, this is ballsy. Could be something to it, but I don't think it's going to be a winning move here today. So about 40 minutes left in this race here today. We're going to be closing in on about an hour and 20 minutes on the duration of this one. Well, there we go. It's going to shuffle back around to Mr. Al Bunch leading the way. And the rest of takers down pit road here, looks like it's about done on pit stops here. Ooh, wow. So, yeah, the battle is brewing here for top 5 positions. Second, as it should at least shuffle back around to be in, would be Chaz Chadwick. Third, Kellen Relic. Fourth, Nate Newman. Fifth, Lynn Farrell, but under heavy duress by the 34 there of Tristan Reams. Then What Army settles back into 7th. DeBlanc 8th. Ant Me Person 9th. Guido Piano 10th. Trevor Walker up to 11th here, getting by a couple drivers on that round of pit stops. So Atlee Weiss drops a couple spots back to 12th. Jacob Schenkel up to 11th. Andre Stefan up to 13th. Atlee might be trying to make a move on the outside there. Not a safe place to make that battle move, but keeps going forward nonetheless. But Trevor Walker, he has been one for road courses in the truck series, and he's slowly showing that he can get it figured out here in the Cup car as well. So instead of an exciting finish to win the race here today, I think the battle's going to come down to second, third, maybe even 5th and 6th, or even 11th and 12th here today. Good battle here, but if you look a little bit further back, that 13 of Ant Me person hounding the 85 car. Ooh, and then lap traffic getting in the way here, as that's holding up a bunch of drivers. Brothers Tyler and Jacob. Jacob gets a little bit of help there from his brother with the getting held up by the 77, allowing for, yeah, look at that. That's one that's like Ryan Newman-esque there, hard to pass. Still no cautions here today, and every lap except for the exchange of pit stops did we see a couple other drivers lead the race here today. Al Bunch has only continued to grow his lead by seconds overly every lap, it looks like, so 12-second lead nearly. Yeah, and the only commotion we had was that with Jordan Walker and Tyler Schenkel getting in a wreck, sliding into the kitty litter. Tyler had to get a tow truck, went 2 laps down. Jordan Walker was able to get out of the kitty litter and only fell 1 lap down. And it's been the 81 and 18 show here today. The 2 guys that finished 1-2 at Atlanta show up here in Watkins Glen and are doing the exact same thing. Al Bunch with the fastest lap, a 132.12 mile per hour lap around this track at 1 minute and 6 seconds. That lap was set early in the race. It hasn't budged since the start of the race. Here we go, Kellen Relic trying to make a move. Chaz has the preferred line, continues to keep second place here. That bus stop might be the one spot to make a move, but it's even hard to do so then. So defending champ Atlee Weiss still putting in a solid run here today. Seems to be his MO every year, or at least in his 2 years of racing here with us. May not have the winningest car, but he just continues to put together top 20, top 15, top 10s, and those start turning into top 5s and wins once in a while. We're going to keep a solid grip in the point standings here with us, as well as Jacob Schenkel, who has had a decent start to the year, hasn't been totally wrecked out every week. Trevor's catching up to his brother there, Jordan. Lap traffic, of course. It might help Trevor get up into the top 10 here. That 37 for position. And it's gonna keep things interesting here as Guido's having a hard time getting around. Ooh, There goes Trevor on the inside. That might be the moment to make the move. Guido cuts him off there, though, and they're both going to get by the 5 of Jay. Great racing action with 11th place on the line. It's going to be hard to decipher who is the hardest charger in the race here today, because I don't see a lot of movement throughout all of the field. Even if you gain about 3 or 4 spots here today, that might be all she wrote for the hard charger award. 12.5-second lead, and Al Bunch is getting caught up to the lap traffic at the back of the field. 20 laps to go now. One thing for certain, Al Bunch knows that he does not want to see here today would be a caution. It's amazing that it's gone caution-free this long, that everyone's minded their P's and Q's. We've had a few mechanical failures, but no oil downs. Even had a car in the kitty litter that had to get a tow truck out, but they were able to do it discreetly without disturbing the flow of the race. Aunt Me person probably very proud of the turnaround here today that BMW's been able to muster up into the top 10 and looking a lot like Aunt Me person of yesteryear. Brian DeBlanc giving this Audi a very strong run. Audi, it's been very evident they've struggled at the start of the year here. Kind of an unexpected 9th manufacturer to join the fold. And with our other manufacturer battle, you've got, Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, and Dodge fighting to stay in the series. And today alone, you're going to look at Jaguar basically continuing to grow that lead in that manufacturer battle, the experimental manufacturer battle. Getting first for Jaguar would be worth 15 points, and then the second highest running one would be third place of Kellen Relic, which would net 12 points for Jaguar. So it's another perfect day for Jaguar if it continues on this route. 27 points is the max that a manufacturer can get between two drivers. And then if you look further back, it'll be 10 points for Dodge with a surprising finish here from Lynn Farrell. And then 8 points for Mercedes. And Mercedes is very close in that battle against Dodge to stay second and third. You want to be second by the end of the year or else you get cut from the series. And we might see them end up in the Bridge to Cup series as manufacturers for next season. That'll be their stomping grounds going forward. Going a little bit further back here. BMW's going to net gain 6. So still a good day for BMW. 6 points. But they're also going to get 1 point because Justin Day 2 mechanicaled out of the race. If you go further back, as I'm keeping track of this, not Tyler Shangle, he's a couple laps down. The next person that would get 4 points for their manufacturer would be Mercedes there. John Brinker would get 4 points for Mercedes. And then 2 points obviously going to Tyler Shangle, who's laps down. And 1 point going to Justin Day2 for BMW. So I might have to look back, but I'm wondering if Al Bunch had a run like this at Watkins Glen in the Busch Series. It's very possible that we've seen him do the exact same here today as there was in the Busch Series. Well, no. Actually, it was Trevor Walker the last time that Bridge to Cup, at that time Sylvania Busch Light Series, raced at Watkins Glen. Race was 72 laps long, and it was won by Trevor Walker. Although Al Bunch did finish third, he led 23 laps at Watkins Glen 1 year ago. Actually, 1 year ago in April. And yeah, just came up short there to the other road course ringer of Trevor Walker. And looking like Al Bunch is going to start establishing his records in the Cup Series with road course racing. Fighting lap traffic here. This could also be dangerous. You don't want to get yourself into a tizzy, force a mistake here. Second place. Now Kellen Relic up to second. He gets by. He must have did it in the long downhill straight here. Let's see how it gets done. Uses the 89 kind of as a pick here. Goes high on the 18 and makes the pass for second. So Kellen Relic now sitting second, giving Jaguar a 1-2 at the moment. Chadwick still continuing to be solid week in, week out right now. Second at Atlanta, potentially a third here today. Kellen Relic doesn't want to settle for third place when his teammates out front leading. And that's impressive too to note. The lead starting to shrink here for Al Bunch, as we're down to 15 laps to go. What was about a 12-second lead is now down to 9.6. Down to 8.49. So if he continues to close this gap at the pace he's rolling, he's going to catch him in about 8 laps. And we still got 14 laps to go. So he's going to catch him with laps to spare if Al Bunch is really struggling that hard. Struggling with the lap traffic. That's what the problem is. He can't get by the 09 of Matthew Fastnot. And that's slowing him up a full second a lap right now full second. That is insane. Here he goes, going low, but not going to be able to do anything with it. Well, now we've got a race on our hands, folks. There's 13 laps to go this time. You're going to have to keep an eye on that deficit. Kellen Relic now coming through the last turn, going down the long front stretch here at Watkins Glen. A 109.2 versus a 108.0. Another second comes off of that lead for Al Bunch. Heck, even Chaz Chadwick, if he stays kind of where he's at, he could still follow Kellen Relic to the lead here. Not as close, but once lap traffic gets into it, there's no telling what of a three-car battle we might have here. And maybe, perhaps, this is just Al Bunch saving his tires, not trying to push it too hard. He knows that he had a big margin to play with. You know, if you're in Vegas, why would you drop all $1,000 if you brought $1,000 with you? Why would you burn all 1,000 on one game of blackjack when you could do 10, 20, 100, a little bit here, a little bit there? So playing on house money right now, just trying to get to the finish. Conservation mode could be the winning strategy, or it could be detrimental. But the crazy part is that one thing doesn't change. It is still the battle of Jaguar right now here in the Sylvania Cup Series. 6.2 seconds, Kellen Relic closing that gap. Al Bunch tries to get alongside and then gets snookered again. See, these are the you know, it's not his rookie year, so it's more like a sophomore slump. But it looks a lot like rookie mistakes, kind of, that these just materialize towards the end of a race or in the middle of a race that cost him opportunities to take it home, to get the victory. This is all part of, you know, part of racing. You've got to figure out how to get by lap traffic and not let it hold you up like this. Now Bunch still trying to learn the ropes when it comes to racecraft here in the Cup Series. Putting in a lot of lead laps and stuff. It's just insane. I thought this race was going to be, you know, all she wrote for the 81, walking away with it. And now we've got a potential battle for the win brewing. Gets by one of the lap cars here. That could be a buffer that he needed, because now that's going to be one car that Kellen's got to get by as well going forward. 11 laps to go. And boss man Kellen Relic just lurking in the background like a shark in the movie Jaws. This could be a huge moment here if he can get by the 09. Instead of fighting with two lap cars down the front straight, he's only fighting with one. Still a 1.5 second deficit closing of the gap for Kellen Relic. Kellen Relic's going to get taste of the same medicine here shortly when he catches up to that 42 car and has to find his way around it. Al Bunch still flirting with the 09 car here. Can't seem to find his way around it. And this in its own might kind of play out with where Al Bunch pitted early, that he's got tires that he's got to conserve a little bit further here. The other drivers that stayed out later and were able to get fresher tires for the longer run, there's a lot of factors that play into this. It's crazy how it's turned into this. There he goes inside the 09, but to no avail. Still has that inside line. This could pan out here. Do a quick speed through the field while this is playing out here. Should be good for at least another lap before Kellen Relic gets caught up. Monty Shangle, 35th. That's going to be a very tough day to stomach for that team after getting so high up in the points. Actually, his whole team, Monty Shangle Motorsports, 35th, 34th with Alan Taylor, 32nd with John Roman. Highest running driver looks to be Liz Shangle up in 28th. So rough day for MSM. You got James Reddick in 26th. Ewan Wood Army drops back to 25th with some damage. We missed that. See how exactly this happened. It was running in 7th, and I think it's going to be that same spot in the track where we had earlier with Jordan Walker and Tyler Shangle. Yep, same thing. He just got squeezed off by the 89 lap car of Gavin Legend. Just got slammed into that outer wall. So not a significantly hard hit, but 89 must have brake checked or something. So 25th now for Wood Army. Rough turnaround there. 22nd, John Brinker. 20th, Lewis Trost. Chris Harvey, 18th. Kara Shangle, 17th. Jack Ross, 16th. Tyler Landa with another top 15 on the horizon. Trevor Walker fighting for position. Looks like he's going to settle into 12th there. Atlee Weiss in 11th. Here we have what could potentially be the rest of this race here. Kellen Relic getting held up by the 42 now. So getting matched up with the same dilemma that Al Bunch had just a couple laps ago. Trying to find the opening to make the pass here. Jacob Shangle up into the top 10, as you've got Guido Piano, Ant Meperson, Brian DeBlank, Tristan Reams, and then 5th place, Lynn Farrell, the 20 of Nate Newman in 4th, Chaz Chadwick, Kellen Relic, and Al Bunch. So this is do or die for Kellen Relic. He needs to get around this 42 ASAP. Needs to find the opening and execute so that he can continue to close the gap to his teammate. Oh, the 42 went way high there. 87's going to be able to make the pass, I think. Yep. Having that outside line going into the long straight, he should be clear of the 42. So making relatively quick work of the 42. Got his sights set on the lead here. And nothing else to separate him from Al Bunch. The one thing this has helped is allow for Chaz Chadwick to close that gap back up. Nate Newman still right there in the background as well. It's not without the realm of possibility that Chadwick could still get into the fight here today. Now we're going to be down to 5 laps to go, and it is setting up to be a thriller here in Watkins Glen. I've always wondered what it'd be like to go bowling on the front stretch of Watkins Glen. Imagine setting up like Wii Bowling, 100 pins right there at the end of that long straight, and just go bowling. I think it would be fun. The trajectory and the speed that bowling ball could get up to going downhill. It could be an exciting game of bowling if you could do that. One thing that Al Bunch hopes doesn't happen is having another car bowl through him. Shoot, Al Bunch gets by the 09 of Fastnot finally. And this could be game-winning move, race-winning move for Al Bunch to get by the lap traffic finally. Kind of starting to look more like he was saving his stuff to try and mount one last late charge here at the end of the race. Getting by that 09 and starting to open up a lead here again. 109.487, a 109.1. So Kellen's still running faster laps here in the closing laps. Still going to be a valiant effort for Kellen to try and stretch it out here. Try to fight for the win. This is going to be Jaguar's potentially 18th win here in Sylvania Cup competition. Doesn't matter if it's 18 or 81. I think we could see these guys start to really put in the work to be one of the top manufacturers here in this series. Eli the Wolf has already exclaimed that he would love to be in a Jaguar Cup car, and the moving pieces are pointing towards Jaguar expanding to being a 4 or more sized car team in 2025. So Eli definitely is going to have a chance to be up in the Cup Series in his preferred manufacturer next year. If he can prove himself in the system that is up the ladder, he's going to have to race trucks and potentially get through Bridge to Cup to make it here. But there might be a landing spot for him that's where he likes to be if he can end up in a Jaguar. Well, we're going to be down to 3 laps to go this time. Al Bunch might just catch a portion of this lap traffic in front of him there. But Kellen Relic just kind of plateaued here for the moment, not catching up as quickly as he was. The finishing result today is not going to show just how far off that Al Bunch was able to cruise away here. It's going to be a lot closer than we anticipated the finish to look on the record book, but nothing can take away just how strong of a performance this was from Al Bunch. He's leading the points right now, and let me show you or tell you exactly how much he's leading by. It's quite the extensive lead, and it's partially due in part to his pole position points that he gets, bonus points for leading or starting the race from the lead. But he sits at at the lead in the points by 69 points over Tyler Landa. And what's impressive about that is the fact that Tyler Landa has 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 3 top 10s in 5 races. Al Bunch, up to this point, has 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 4 top 10s, along with 3 poles. So his lead only going to continue to grow here today. 100 and I want to say it's 150 points, or no, 115 really is the span of 1 full race. If he gets a 110 point lead, that means he's going to have a full race lead over whoever is behind him. And it's getting scary close to that in only 6 races time. So those double points at the end of the year really going to be a big deal for some of these drivers to try and stump Al Bunch perhaps. White flag waving, last lap around Watkins Glen here today. Al Bunch with a 4-second lead. It seems like the only thing that could go wrong is a mechanical failure on the last lap here. Kellen Relic hasn't even caught up to the back of the 09 lapped car. Chadwick going to be settled with the 3rd, it looks like. 4th for Nate Newman. 5th for Lynn Farrell. 6th for Tristan Reams. Possibly on a battle here between these two is Brian DeBlank, 8 and done. 8th place for Ant Meeperson. 9th Guido Piano. 10th Jacob Shangle. 11th Atlee Weiss, and 12th Trevor Walker. So we're going to go back to the very front of the field, though, as Al Bunch is getting that checkered flag, cruising across the front straight here. Al Bunch wins the race here at Watkins Glen, going back-to-back in the Sylvania Cup Series. Getting Jaguar that 18th win, and yet again getting a 1-2 finish for Jaguar as bossman Kellen Relic comes home 2nd. Chadwick 3rd, Nate Newman 4th, and Lynn Farrell 5th. Tristan Reams starting to regain his composure as a road courser. 6th for him, 7th for DeBlank, 8th for Ant Meeperson, 9th for Guido Piano, and 10th for Jacob Shangle. Atlee Weiss continuing to put on a solid campaign as defending champ. 11th here today is not bad at all. Sometimes when you don't have the winning car, it's good to just get top 15, top 20 finish at all costs. So Trevor Walker with potentially his best finish here in the Cup Series yet, a 12th. Tyler Aspinall 13th, Andre Stefan 14th, and Kara Shangle with a 15th. Jack Ross, Tyler Landa. I think Landa's going to take a bit of a hit in the points as he was 2nd in the points with so many top 10s to his name. 17th today, not quite as great, but still solid run, solid finish. He's just going to kill it with consistency so far this year. Dalton Scott comes home 18th, Chris Harvey 19th, Lewis Tross 20th, 21st for Chris Hergeson, 22nd for John Brinker, 23rd for Bella Fawn, 24th for Gavin Gray, 25th for What Army. Had a great run going up until he didn't, getting crinkled up. 26th for James Reddick, 27th Nelson Chacon, 28th Liz Shangle, 29th Zach Armstrong, 30th Daniel Paulus, 31st John Roman, 32nd Bob Leader, Cam Jordan, Monty Shangle, and Alan Taylor rounding out those that finished the race here at the end. So 1 hour and 16 minutes, the distance of the race here today. More of a sprint race for these Cup drivers. But that's kind of my goal for these road courses, is to make them a little bit more appeasing appetite for the shorter distances and stuff, a little bit easier to stream. Good race, great race. Al Bunch dominated here today. Jaguar continues to show their strength in numbers every week, as it's Jaguar 1-2 finish here today at Watkins Glen. So that's race 6 of 40. It's the year's starting to really get a roll on here. Spring races are going to be kicking out in full force. There's race 6 of 40. And so, yes, congratulations, Al Bunch. Back-to-back wins in the Sylvania Cup Series, but only 2 of many for this young star of the series. Going to show you just why climbing up the ladder is important for these guys to assert themselves in the series. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Glad you could. It was definitely different being on a Monday morning like this, but we had a great race. Another dominant performance from Al Bunch. A great storyline developing there, as we might potentially have someone that can just walk away with it in a couple weeks' time as a dominant force to be reckoned with. So hopefully I'll tune in tomorrow for the Tuesday truck race, and then Thursday Bridge to Cup. And otherwise after that, hopefully y'all have a good weekend. Happy start of the week for y'all. Glad you could tune in. Hopefully you have a good one. Stay safe out there. This is Jakester signing out.